Hey everyone coming in. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give our attendees just maybe 30 seconds to 60 seconds to get logged in, and we'll get started here in just a moment. Thank you.
Can you guys see me and hear me?
Who do we have? All right. Just one more minute and we'll get started. We're going to begin this presentation by welcoming Polly Andrews to do the opening prayer. A little bit about her. Polly Andrews was raised in the villages of Shivak and Lower Kalskag with her grandparents and Fairbanks with her father. In 2016, Polly received a bachelor's in human services and is currently pursuing a master's in education. Today, she is a learning and development associate with South Central Foundation Family Wellness Warriors Initiative, a program that inspires families and communities to end cycles of abuse in Alaska. Additionally, Polly enjoys sharing Kupik culture through traditional song, dance, and story, and believes that growing cultural understanding is key to shaping strength and identity. Polly is a mom to 3 lively little children, and their favorite pastime includes returning to the village for fish camp and subsistence activities. Welcome, Polly. Please welcome everybody as she provides our opening prayer.
Hi, Faka. Being a Polly Andrews, Chuhdun Atcha na Pirip, Ilanka Chufahamiu, Hoyana Dangshamchi. My name is Polly, and my Chupik name is Na Piriuk. I was named after my great grandfather, and my name means to sharpen. And my family originates from the region of Kisunak, and we call our village Chivak today, and it's on the very west coast of Alaska, and our land is dominated by many ponds and lakes and rich tundra land, and our main food source is seal and walrus and birds. And so anyway, I wanted to by providing a traditional song called Tlavut, and it means our world. And this song was composed by Asi Gayrayok of Chuparenak, Alaska. And today we sing and share many songs together. And this song, it says Tlavut, our world. Even though the weather constantly changes, the land remains the same. And the first verse of the song says, the cold weather spirit down there makes everything barren. The second verse says, the warm weather spirit up here brings life. And so the way that I like to look at it is, even though we're in an age and a time of changes that have gone on and challenges that our communities and our people have had to face through history, we still have our values and our connectedness as Native people. It's our strengths and our resilience that has walked us through these challenges, and we know that we can remain the same who we are tribally. And so with that, I'll share the song Chavut, and this is a traditional Yupik drum that was also made by Asi Gayrayok. Chavut. I'm happy to see you all, and thank you for providing space and opportunity for me to share culture and song from here in Alaska.
Thank you so much, Polly. That was amazing. All right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for registering to attend this webinar, which is Change Your Tribal Community from Within, an APPA Resources invite. Today, I'll be joined. I'm Aaron Birch. I'm the communications specialist at the American Probation and Parole Association, but I'm just a co-star at best. I'll be joined by the amazing Nan Benali, who is the APPA Tribal Program Grants Manager, as well as Amber Torres, who is chairman of the Walker River Paiute Tribe, and Cindy Famero, who is the TSR case manager for the Comanche Nation Tribe of Oklahoma. We'll be recording this webinar. We may use it later if it turns out great. And we just really want to say thank you for joining us today. We're going to do a deep dive of what APPA is currently doing for Indigenous persons around the country, as well as what we hope to do in the future. And here's our agenda in front of you. We started with the traditional blessing. After we introduce the presenters, we're going to talk about how we've been working for Indigenous people, we're going to ask you to help us connect the dots on areas that we can do a better job or services that we can potentially offer in the future. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how we've made it work, what our process is like, what we hope to accomplish in the future. And then we'll ask you all to join in. I'll turn on the microphones at the end so we can answer questions. You can also drop into the chat. You'll notice there is a blue box, if you haven't opened it yet, where you can speak to the public or just directly to a presenter. So I'm typing in everyone right now. All right. I believe I mentioned everybody, but there's our brief overview along with their presenters. And I believe with that, I will hand it over to Nan Benali. Nan, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Aaron, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you very much, Polly for that wonderful introduction of the blessing. She always has a beautiful way of bringing us into our moments. Well, that looks like me this morning. So there's an interesting fact of that the average attention span during a presentation is 10 minutes. As you can see that this webinar is going to probably take more than 10 minutes. So we hope that you're going to stretch your attention span to beyond that. And so please stick with us, and we hope to make it interesting for you. And again, thank you very much for all of you coming to hear us and to join us in this very important webinar, and being able to take some time with us today. But before we go any further, one of the things that I always like to do is to introduce myself in my own language for all my brothers and sisters out there. She'eya nan banali and shia ash'e bashishchin ash'eya hinshle twatsunhi eya bashishchin kachini e dashanala kapahe e dashache e kutao e asanshle ado tsao tsode e shiahuia. So that is who I am as a Dene woman. I am originally was raised from Fort Defiance, Arizona, and was born for the Red Bottom Clan, or I am of the Red Bottom Clan and born for the Big Water Clan. And so one of the things that I want to talk about as we start out is to talk about what has APPA been doing for Indigenous people. And I'm going to go through several areas in terms of what the grants have been doing. As you know, I'm the Travel Program Grants Manager. That is my official title within APPA. And so talking a little bit about what we do as in that role of what we do for grants. Also the networking in ways that we have been reaching out, all in the different ways of on-site outreach and so forth. And also how we have been visible. That's been a big part of my job of making sure that we have the visibility, not only in the communities, but also nationwide, of carrying the messages of who we are and what we're doing, and how we can be a resource for you, and providing training as well. And so one of the things, when I first came here, this is now my third year with APPA. I just celebrated my anniversary just a few weeks ago. And so when I first came here, I was very new to this area of work. And so when we talk about a journey, in our language, we call it Hajine Bahane. It's a journey narrative. And I like to talk about it in that way because I think that's how, for me, it's best for me to describe how my work here with APPA started. So Hajine means like when we came out. When we talk about our own way of, in my own creation stories, that we came out from a different world, so we emerged. And Bahanet means our stories. So a journey narrative is kind of how I like to talk about my journey narrative within APPA. It hasn't been an easy journey. It's been trial by fire, like I kind of like to talk about. When I first came, there was many grants that were already ongoing, and I had to pick up and put the pieces together and learn as I was being taught at the same time of what all these different pieces meant. But one of the things that I was really thankful for is that my own upbringing by my parents and from where I was raised I was raised culturally, and that was one of the ways that I have always brought my work into that type of environment and in that type of philosophy. And so that was what grounded my work with APPA. And as I continued my work, I blended those two things together. And as I continued that work, I think that served the purpose well in the ways that I related to everything that I did, that it was always, even when I went out to the communities, it was, whether it was doing the training institutes, when we're talking about looking to provide training for communities at a bigger venue. It was always to remember that these are individuals needing help, asking for specific types of training, or when we're doing media releases and asking people to provide pictures or provide um, personal information about themselves, or when we're doing webinars and asking people to provide their expertise about what they are good at or what they excel in, or when we're doing workshops and asking people to come and visit or come together as a group and meet one another, or even when I go out on-site visits and meeting people in their own place of work. One of the things that I remember in all of this is that I'm honoring and being honored by people sharing who they are, where they come from, and being in their space. Whereas, like as you'll see in this lower corner with these 4 women, when I was doing an on-site visit with them, they were an all-women group that lived in Warm Springs reservation, and they were out in the middle of nowhere, but they took the time to, say, come have lunch with us, we'll feed you, and we'll show you around. And they just had like one small office, and they took time off out of their day to show me different places on their reservation. Or when we did the Training Institute and we did workshops, that people would come up to me and talk to me about their community and who was their council people, or who was on their team. Or when we did media releases, when I asked people for pictures, that I knew that sometimes people would say, no, I don't want my picture shared. And I would say, okay, I understand that. And that's okay. We don't need a picture, and that was fine. Or when we do webinars and we ask people to share their expertise and help them to be able to put themselves out there and boast about themselves, and they would say, I don't really like to tell tell about myself in that way. And so helping them write about what they are good at. And so those are things that we as Indigenous people find it hard to do. And so being mindful of that, and also being able to help them maneuver that. And also in terms of networking, how it is that we as Indigenous people, that is how we connect with one another, through outreach. That wherever we go, that we always find one another. We could be in a crowded conference place, and somehow we will always recognize one another, and we'll always in some way acknowledge each other. And that's what I really like about my job, that I always will know that when I go to a conference, no matter where it is, that I will find someone that looks like me, talks like me, and acts like me. And so I make it a point that when I invite you to our conferences, or I invite you to be a part of whatever it is that I'm doing, that I make sure that you feel welcomed, or that you're a part of the group that becomes a bigger part of the network that we're trying to build through these collaborations that we're doing, or these partnerships that we're a part of, or even part of our tribal issues committee that we have within APPA. And that takes time, and that takes effort. And so it's always being able to be that bridge amongst all of those things. And so it's being the person that says, here's one hand and here's another, and you pull them together and say, this is so and so, and they're from here, and this is what they're doing. And so also the grants that we do, how those grants are used. I often say I'll meet people and I'll ask them what they're doing, or saying, what are some of the things that you would like to do? What are some of the things that you have tried before? And maybe I don't have the resources right at this moment, but some of the things that I'll think about is saying, okay, well, we don't have that particular grant available right now, but I will keep them in mind, or I'll keep my notes in mind. And if a grant comes across my desk at some point, then I'll say, okay, that's one way that I can, I remember that group, or that particular organization, or that particular community that needed that grant. And so I'll email it to them and say, here, this is something that you said you were interested in. Maybe this is something you can still use. Or I'll come across publications or resources that they may need. And so it's always pulling things aside, and then being able to help them know how to utilize those things. Filling out a grant application, or knowing how to access resources, saying, do you know how, are you on these people's newsletters? Do you sign up for their grant newsletters to be notified when a grant comes out? Are you able to do you know what support systems are out there, and do you know how to access them? And so being that voice of being able to say, these are the ways that you maneuver the system, and how to get around all of those things. And so that's part of the journey that I've been part of, and being able to provide what you have within APPA. And so when I talk about my journey, or my narrative journey, it's been all of those things. And I've been very, very fortunate within this first 3 years to have been being able to be out on the road, and being able to meet so many people, that I've been able to do this as part of my work, and meeting many of you, and being able to collaborate with many of you, and being able to enjoy the meals with you, and to be able to share the work with you, and be able to train with you, and all of those things. And I know that through APPA that it has not always been easy, that I've had to, go through some bumps and bruises myself as being a part of this community. And so I know that it's not easy for you out there as well. And so when this opportunity came up, and they said, we're doing these membership drives, and I said, well, let us do one for our community, because I think that when I'm on the outside doing this work, one way that I know that we can make this a stronger community is maybe building it from within. We build up a better, stronger community membership base within APPA. I know that we can become a much more stronger advocate for ourselves in all of these areas, in getting grants, in being more visible, in networking stronger. And I believe that we can do that. And so from here on, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Amber to do the next piece of our presentation. So thank you very much for giving me this time. Amber?
Hello, can you guys hear me? All right, wonderful.
Yes.
So, Pija Tabino, me, Amber Torres, Minanyana, Agarikarapana, Bina, Agagwe. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amber Torres. I'm the chairman for the Walker River Paiute Tribe in Shores, Nevada. Initially, when we had sat down and I was asked to, present as an APPA member, we basically sat around and talked about our experiences with APPA and, trying to build that collaboration with tribal nations and APPA, forming a better, bigger partnership and how we would be able to work together. I explained my experience as a tribal leader, going to trainings that were put on by Nan Benelli and her team out in South Carolina regarding the reentry program. And I think it was just an absolutely amazing experience, that has stuck with me thus far. We talked about getting the information out there so that the tribal nations know exactly what APPA is doing on their behalf, so that they may be enticed to become a member. We talked about trying to build a better relationship, working with the BIA. It's for more collaboration, because we know right now our brothers and sisters are not able to be housed anywhere near us, and they're shipped off to facilities that are, up to 600 miles away. So they're not able to see their families or have that connection any longer. Some of the things that we're dealing with right now is needing that consultation, with our local prison, for the simple fact that, they need more involvement from tribal nations on policies and procedures when it comes to health, welfare, and access for, again, our tribal brothers and sisters. So, I think the biggest thing is that, just having that consultation, like Nan said, just really expressing what it is that APPA brings to the table, what we as tribal nations would be able to bring to the table, so that we can work on a better rapport and a better relationship going forward, and get more people on board to share that feedback of how we can help ultimately our people. So I, with that, that's what I've brought to the table. With my experience with the reentry program and ultimately, recidivism, is that we're trying to update our tribal law and order code here on the reservation. And, through going through the experience and the practice that I did, where you get fresh out of prison, you're given a $20 bill and a bus ticket, and you're really told to go and make a way of life out of that. And, by the end of the exercise that we had done, I had said that I wanted to give up and just go back to prison. So it really opened my eyes and enlightened me quite a bit. But it made me think, now that we're doing these tribal law and order codes, that we really need to get a perspective from the prisoners themselves, the hardships that they go through, the things that we need to work on, and ultimately walk a mile in their shoes to see how we can help. Also that, the punishment that comes down wouldn't be cookie cutter for everybody. So again, creating treatment plans for them that would ultimately give them success in life. And so again, I thank you for that opportunity to share my experiences.
Thank you, Amber. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. Next up, Nan, do you want to say anything before we introduce Cindy, or can we move on?
No, that was great. I think when Amber talks about the process of being able to come together, I think that really underlies what we're trying to do here today, is that that's the main purpose of why we're really coming back to this as a membership drive, that we have to come together to be able to become stronger. And whatever it is that we do, we know that as an Indigenous community, that we are best when we work together. And that is where we find, I think, our greatest strength is when we pull together as a community. And I hope that that message comes across to all of you as well. And I'm really thankful for seeing as many people that we have here, and many of you are familiar to all of us that are that have been in training with you or been in conferences with you as well. So thank you, Amber, for again underlying that important piece of the message with us.
Shot you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Cindy.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Okay. Marueko, Naniata, Cindy Famero. Hello, my name is Cindy Famero. I am a proud citizen of the Comanche Nation. I am also overall Sioux, and that means that I have been disconnected from much of my culture. And so when we talk about bridging gaps and making connections, it is true. The way I teach is the way I was taught, and that was nearest the latter part of my life. I was not raised in a community that kept our Indigenous ways taught to us in an early age. Our language has not been taught to us. We are still catching up with that. And so that disconnection to the boarding schools and to colonization is an absolute truth. However, when I met Nan, and I give you kudos so much because, one, I have not always lived on the right side of the law, and to go into the APPA Association and to come into the reintegration department through the Comanche Nation and connect those two was like, not always trusting, as a people. I don't think we trust many governmental institutes, but especially the police, or the probation and parole department. And, for good reason. However, when I met Nan, it was also when Amber was there. It was South Carolina. We had a number of, it was a great weekend. And I've never had so much fun with what you would call normal people that didn't have addictions or weren't on probation, or, they had great educations and they'd always lived on the right side of the law, and, they had intact families and that type of stuff. And so it was awesome to see, that type of engagement. So we get to the last of it was the last, I think one of the last of the two presentations or the conferences, breakout sessions, I'm sorry. And so there was a bunch of people, and you sit down and you have a packet. And in that packet, you have a life, right? So I was like a 29-year-old mother. I had one child that was on probation. I had 2 bus tickets. I had a pass for pawning something. I had to go to court. I had to see Child Protective Services. So it was really how people that are incarcerated or Indigenous communities have on their plate. It was really about that kind of lifestyle. So I pick up this packet. I have an adult child that's acting like he's 10 or 15. And we go from room to room. And, people are racing because they only have 6 minutes or 10 minutes to get to this particular part. And waiting in several lines, being told that I tested positive on a UA with my child, and then I had to go get another bus ticket, and I had to go pawn something. And it was just a melee of chaos. And in that process, people were laughing and competing. These people that had never lived on that side of the law or that type of lifestyle. And for me, walking through that for the better part of my life, and, having to be in probation and having to go test and having to be in treatment and having to, go ponce, all that stuff was just a slam on me as these people were competing as if it were, a game. And so I grabbed Nan, she was a few of the Indian faces there. And I just laid out everything. And it was very important I think it was important for me because thank God I didn't have that life anymore, but it was really almost offensive because these people were making it a game. And these are the probation and parole departments. And so although it was something that they could learn from, I don't think they were really taking it into the context that it needed to be. And so what she mentioned to me at that point was, we really need to change this. Because there wasn't a whole lot of Native faces there, yet we have the highest incarceration rate. We have the highest relapse rate, the highest domestic violence rate, the highest children in detainment. And so the idea that one Native woman to another Native woman, we made a pact at that point. It was an unsaid pact. It was something that, we are better together than we ever will be apart. And so from that point on, we began this journey. And the only reason why we made that journey was because we both understood that we were on our healing journey. In order to be well, we have to first recognize what the problem is. And so, and those problems change throughout your life because you begin to process and you begin to love yourself a little more, and you begin to understand that it's really not your fault. You don't have a lot of, you recognize what guilt and shame is as opposed to what you used to. And so she came full force with great ability to identify and talk and with just eloquence. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I could just do that. And if I could be a voice for our guides, for the gentlemen that I work with. So through our reintegration department, we recognize that, one, we didn't have enough support even from our own tribe. That they said, well, one of our guides that I still work with today, he had been in prison 7 times. And like the second or third time, oh no, I'm not going to give you any services because you've been here several times. But there was no way to keep him from, going back because he didn't have anything when he got out, and he didn't get treatment, and he didn't even know he could do that. And it was never put on his plate. It was never given to him as an inspiration or encouragement. And so when we got him straight from county, which he was going to go back for some more prison time, we told him, you know what? You don't ever have to go back to prison. Ever, 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 ever. And today he's about to get his 2 children returned to him. He's about to get his license. He's been here for 15 months. He's never raised any of his children. And he is just a huge difference from what he used to be. And so I say that to say this, that it is an important piece that we walk together, that we gain more of our Indigenous audience, because we are powerful. We're powerful beyond measure. We don't even know how powerful we are because we don't stick around each other long enough. If I can get that power from Nan, who's 3,000 miles away from me, over the phone, that means that we can give that to others, that inspiration and that courage, that strength. And we do it a lot like through medicine, through our cedars, our sages, our sweetgrass, our sweat lodges, our talking circles. I always say to the gentlemen that I work with, and even the ladies, that there is sacredness in this circle. If you start with a circle, everybody's equal. There's not one person better, not one person richer, not one person more educated than we all are together, because we take whatever's being said and we carry it together. So the importance of that is the difference for me and where I sit. So I just wanted to say thank you, Nan, for giving us the opportunity. You have been a great supporter. Amber, when you told your story, I was so appreciative. And so for the people in the audience, I just want you to understand that it is very important that, one, if you can get with people that are like-minded, that it's important that we make a push, because our people are dying. Our people are incarcerated at a larger number of rate and for smaller offenses. and it just begins to culminate and exacerbate their being. And so if they do get out, we need to have these wraparound services. We need to be connected. We need to have people that we can call and say, hey, I've got a client that's in, Nevada, and he's getting out. How can we get him from state to state? Or, how can I help you, Amber, in other nations with people that are, we've got Comanches all over the United States. And so if we can make that, what we call it, the Harriet Tubman line, that type thing, the Underground Railroad, but really on top, that's kind of the thing that we need to do. We need to have that courage to stand up for our individual citizens and for their right to be free from the bondage of self. And so I think that's an important part. And so I just wanted to say that for us, it's been a journey, a good journey. I want to continue this journey. Anybody can contact me here at the Comanche Nation. I would partner with you. I can help you. Send anything you need to. We'll go anywhere. We'll do anything we need to do to help all of our Indigenous people. And so thank you so much, Nan.
Thank you very much for that, Cindy. You are always a very powerful force in any place that you go. And I'm so honored that you were able to join us. You and Amber are a testament to the work that you guys both do in your community. So, yeah, thank you. And so now we'll go on to Larry. Larry Topam is also a member of the Comanche Nation.
Yes, thank you. My name is, like I said, my name is Larry Topam. I'm a Kiowa tribe. I'm down here at the Comanche Nation Prevention Recovery. I wanted to, share a little testimony about some of the healing and the wellness that I've received since I've been out of prison. To give you a little background, I was in the military. While I was in the military, I was in the Air Force. I got my education. During the middle of my military service, I was diagnosed with cancer, and through that cancer and through the hurt and the pain that came along with that, I picked up a pill addiction, really bad. And so I carried that. I kind of transitioned out of the military, but my addiction stayed with me, and I had a lot of control issues, a lot of anger, a lot of repressed, resentments and stuff that came along with that, and it I really kind of pushed my family out of the way. I pushed my God out of the way, my Creator. I pushed everybody out of my life to try to cater to my appetite for pills, and when that wasn't enough, I began to drink a lot of alcohol and just chase the drugs and alcohol, and to a point where I ended up in jail. I got arrested with a felony for possession of crystal meth, and just began to spiral out of control. It wasn't until I went to prison twice, and when coming out of prison, I didn't have a lot of resources, and I didn't know where to go and what to do. And so I found myself at the doorstep of the Comanche Nation Prevention Recovery, asking for help, begging for a new chance on life, and not knowing any direction and where to turn, and not really having a reason to go on, no reason why to move on with life. I just couldn't find any. When they opened up the doors and they embraced me and accepted me into the program, I began to start having this wellness that I didn't know I needed really at the time. I was depressed, I was hurting, I was just living in a pit of despair, and through the program, through the relationships I built here, some of the things that I've learned along the way was the power of prayer, the power of gathering together in a sweat ceremony, the powwows, the medicines, the importance of gathering rocks for a sweat, or gathering wood, and being involved with the community and the elders, and taking everything that goes into our culture and our heritage to be well, and gathering those things up, and everything that goes along with that, and seeing the changes that it made, in a positive way in my life was something that I had been searching for, yearning for, and I didn't realize how important it was going to be to take me in a new direction, take me, give me peace, give me joy, and give me the quality of life that I was looking for, because I was hurting. I was a hurting and troubled soul, back on the streets, homeless, and not knowing, where to go or who to turn to. And, through this program and through the, like I said, my getting in tune again with my culture, my heritage, I was able to do that. I found out the importance of, the family, of talking circles, of getting, back to meditation and prayer. And like I said before, it's just a ceremonial, a change of that, because the ceremony, the change that had happened was all positive, and these are, just a small amount of details that went into my testimony, but I'm a testimony that these things work. As much as I thought I knew, as equipped as I thought I was with the world, when it goes from heartbreak to struggle, addiction, and pain and suffering, I needed a way out. And because of the program, because of the, my creator, getting a relationship back with him, and then all the ceremonial things that I've been involved with, I've been able to have life again and move on from a, like I said, a troubled past, a difficult, decisions and that I had to live with. But I'm moving forward now, and I thank you guys for listening to me and having in this program and the meeting and the this what we're doing here is really important. And I think that for rehabilitation, the reintegration, it's very important for us to at least have that option available to us, because if without it, I think I'd still be out on the streets. I would still be searching for something or somebody to just understand where I come from, and somebody to listen. And that's what really has helped me. And that's really what works for me. So I want to give back. Like I said, I know the importance of family. I want to be well and to give back and concentrate on the self-care that comes along with that. So I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you, Miss Amber, Miss Nan, and Miss Cindy also for all your help and showing me a better way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. Yeah, that's very nice of you to say all those things, and we really appreciate you sharing a part of yourself and a part of your life with us, and being very courageous and truthful in your stories. We'll go on to Eli. Devin. I'm sorry, Devin.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Devin Twitty, and I'm a member of the Comanche Nation tribe. Graduated from the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery, did 12 months. Been incarcerated 3 times in my life. Juveniles, detention centers, I just couldn't catch a break by my choices that I made in life. But what brought me to my criminal activity was when I was younger, I was trying to be, I grew up without a father. So I cling to the first thing that, that showed me love and affection like that, and so I chose the street life, and I paid for it, been, like I said, I've been incarcerated in jail all my life. And, I was thankful for the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery, because they stood up for me in court, came and got me. I know it wasn't easy for them to get me out of jail. And, they walked this red road with me on my recovery, taught me how to use these medicines in a good way, show me the meaning behind them. And, every morning I pray. They taught me about the lodge, taught me what everything meant, what ceremony meant, to me as an Indian man, and how valuable I am to the community, or Indian community, because I guess we are not involved. The men nowadays is in active addiction, and there's not a lot of active tribal members that are sober. And I'm proud to be sober today. I got 17 months clean, and on my journey to on the sobriety walk, I discovered after about 6 months in the program that I had to give myself to the program and really want it for myself and nothing else. So I gave everything to the Creator, put it in his hands, offered up a prayer, and just hope that he could take all my problems away from me. I had anxiety real bad and depression, and Miss Cindy worked with me a lot. Prevention and recovery worked with me a lot. They didn't give up on me, and today I'm happy. I work out there. I work at the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery today. I am a security tech specialist. That all came with me willing to take that step into life. I was scared to change, but just after using what they taught me, I walk every day in wellness. My sobriety means a lot to me. I put that first. I put the Creator and my sobriety first in my life, and with that, I achieve a lot. Just waking up every day sober is a blessing to me. Going to sleep sober is a blessing to me. Not having to worry about, what was going on out in the streets or, in a bad community. Now I worry about, what's going on in our Indian community. The ceremonies, the powwows. I gourd dance. I participate in ceremonies, like I said. So I enjoy those things. Learning songs. I go to Indian church. I do the best that I can because I'm only a common man, and I try to take my day by days. Just kind of slow, not really trying to rush into too much, but and not only that, my family's starting to get back involved with me. There's time after time that I let my mother and my little brothers down and told them that I wasn't going to do this again, and and knowing I was, but I did it anyway. But today, I can go visit my mother and sit down and have a normal conversation with her and, talk about life, talk about healings, talk about wellness, talking about, about this red road that I'm walking. And, I'm proud of myself today that, and not only that, I'm proud to have the Indian community to stand behind me in a good way like that, to walk this road with me and just watch me grow and want it for me just as bad as I want it. But, that's just a little piece of, where I'm coming from. And, I haven't always made good decisions in life, but I make good decisions today. I think about what I'm doing before I do it now instead of just running into stuff. I think about the consequences. Sometimes, my mind will get the best of me because I'm only human, but I can redirect all that into something positive now. After learning my rights and my wrongs and understanding them, understanding myself, and most importantly, just understanding God, that God's always going to have my back. The Creator's always going to have my back. And that's what I walk in. I walk in faith. I walk in love today. I walk in that way, try to treat people how I want to be treated, with respect, with love, and even people that ain't well, I see them and, I still wish them a good day, and let them know that, this healing works, these medicines that we use works, the ceremonies we participate in works. I know the meanings behind them now. And I'm grateful for the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery because they still stand beside me no matter what I do. And, that's really all I got today. And I appreciate y'all listening to me.
Thank you so very much, Devin. That was very wonderful that you guys are able to talk about your lives and all the courage that you're doing. We really appreciate that. And I think that goes back to, again, the message that we're trying to share with all of you. You're probably wondering why these two gentlemen were sharing something so personal, but I think it goes back to what the work that we do with that every day, that a lot of us are doing this work for a reason. And some of us are far removed from the boots on the ground that Cindy or other people that are doing that every day. And we need to be reminded of that. And then when we're able to remember that, it's part of that that work that we share, and in some way, whether we're in that area of, like Amber and I, sometimes we get caught up in the legislative pieces of the policies and, those things. It's good to hear those stories that Devin and Larry share with us, because those are the ones that we're advocating for when we're sitting in these Senate chambers, or we're trying to pass laws on, different things, that we have to be reminded that those are the people that we're fighting for. So membership in APPA is an important step, because we're able to then have that force of a national organization to be able to help us pave the way for some of those things. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Aaron, so that he can tell us a little bit more about how this membership will work for us.
Thank you, Nan, and thank you, Devin and Larry and Cindy and Amber as well. I really appreciated all your stories, and it was great to learn about your journeys and how you ended up here today. My background is journalism. I was originally I went to school at Western Kentucky University to practice journalism, and then I worked in a small newspaper before working in communications in healthcare. And so I wrote stories about doctors, about sick people, and then last October 2019, I joined the APPA. And it's been a crazy learning experience to learn about the journeys that people go through, the struggle to teach, to mentor, that probation and parole officers go through every day, and obviously, and then throw COVID-19 on top of that. It's been a really quick education for me into the world of probation and parole, and how community corrections is affected by all of these outside circumstances. And so I now manage communications for APPA, and that takes a lot of different pathways. So everything from our training institutes to social media like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn even, to our online website. There's just a lot of ways that we try to reach people. But what I want to do with this last portion of the webinar is talk about a couple ways that we're trying to provide training or networking or education, and then bounce it back to you who are in attendance today of what are we missing? What can we do better? Or how can we connect with tribal communities in a way that we aren't yet? So on your screen is a few of our resources. The first is Appa Connect. This is an online forum where people can ask questions, post surveys, make communication, network, and make friends. And we recently moved this to a new website to make it look sleeker and nicer. It looks more like a social media site like Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that. And what we do on Appa Connect is provide a bunch of different resources, and some of them are available to the open public, and others are for members only. Let me show you my screen. And so this is the front page of Appa Connect. And what you'll see is recent posts, COVID-19 resources here on the right side. We have our publications, which includes our Perspectives magazine, which comes out 4 times a year. Tribal example materials. Perspectives, I think these are a little double up. This might also include our newsletter. And then a community directory, which takes you to a variety of smaller conversations and different groups based on areas of interest. And when you click the community directory, you'll notice that we have these 2 getting started platforms. These are available to everybody. Anyone, not even non-members, can post on Appa Network and on the Community of Excellence to recognize great work around the country. And then we have specific communities that are only for members. And these are equity and reform, evidence-based practices, health and wellness, juvenile justice, leadership, technology, and one we've just made, the tribal issues community and talking circle. So we want to build communities, build conversations in these groups to really just provide a place that community corrections professionals feel comfortable to go and have their questions answered or feedback brought in a safe environment. And that's what we're trying to build. I lost the slide there. One moment.
And I just want to say that the Appa Connect on that Talking Circles group, one of the reasons why we started that is a lot of times at the Tribal Issues Committee meetings that we found that we would always run out of time for us when we're talking about different things, that this would be a great place for us to network, to be able just to talk about things that we're doing in our communities, or doing kind of like what Aaron talked about earlier, saying that if we have things going on in our community, maybe that's a place that we can get together to brainstorm and saying, I'm having this kind of issue, and Cindy even talked about that and saying, if I've got a problem with trying to figure this out, maybe you've got a solution for that. And working with Amber on things that are going on in Nevada, and stuff like that. That would be a great place for us to be able to do things like that together as a community.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nan. And hopefully that can continue to grow. I know it's really just getting started on this new website. So we really hope to bring new content and new reasons for people to stop by over the next 6 months or so. Next up is webinars, and I'm not going to focus on that too long because you all are on one right now, but I just wanted to say that Nan has been amazing in coordinating and planning content for tribal communities year-round. We have 2 panel discussions later this week that she is moderating about reentry perspectives from Native American inmates. Tomorrow is one for the continental United States, and then on Thursday is one focusing on Alaskan Native American inmates and how their reentry perspectives are evolving. What trends are we seeing? And this is just her passion, and she does a great job with these presentations. And I know that we have more coming up, either at our training institute in February and even beyond that into the spring. So you want to, if you aren't on APPA's email, or if you want to become a member to get more notifications about those types of trainings, I can't recommend them enough. There's just some really great programming. Also, we have the Career Center, where this is a website strictly for either people looking for jobs in community corrections or offering jobs in community corrections. And it's a small community that provides job postings only for this profession. So that's worth checking out. And then finally, or almost finally, I mentioned perspectives earlier. We just had an issue come out regarding juvenile justice, and then our final issue of the year will be on COVID-19 and how people are adjusting. And I'm happy to, after this webinar is over, I'll send you a link to the latest issue. And then continue learning and resource building. Gosh, that's a lot of different things, but perhaps most importantly is our virtual training institute. We are entirely online now to keep everyone safe in times of COVID-19. And it's very inexpensive for members to come and join us over a week-long experience that will feature approximately 40 or 50 Training Institute webinars and workshops. And we just announced registration for this, and it's $170 if you're a member of APPA and $230 if you are not. But you can get contact hours, CEUs, STCs, and I believe COBs if you're in Ohio by any chance. But something to consider going forward. I mentioned the APPA Connect earlier. Nan was also instrumental in getting the Tribal Community Corrections Support Center online. That is a website dedicated entirely to Indigenous persons and their communities, hosted by APPA. And I'll share the front page with you right now just so you can take a look. But we regularly have news on here, technical assistance, resources available. This is something that we've been working to build in my entire time here over the last 13 months. And I know that it will continue to grow in the near future as well. So those are here links to the webinars that I mentioned earlier, as well as important news and different conferences coming up, things like that.
And just to let you know, when if you're not able to see these webinars live, we do have them recorded. So at a later time that you can come back and also listen to them on the time that's more convenient for you as well.
Yeah, great.
And I have my colleagues actually in on this webinar that are listening in. That's Pam and Travis that do a lot of the work with me. So they're usually helping me out with these webinars.
Yeah, that's a great point, Nan. And if you're the leader of an agency and maybe have remembered a past webinar that was really influential or had a great message, then you can reach out to Nan or myself, and we may be able to find it for you. So I hope that we're able to help you in that regard. And last on this slide is PPPS Week, the Pretrial Probation and Parole Supervision Week. And that is a weekly celebration of those professions taking place the third week of July. I believe in 2021 is July 18th to 24th. And in early January, we'll be rolling out the 2021 website with contests you can enter, different ways you can promote the people that you work with or celebrate them. And we have some plans that we hope will overcome COVID-19 and really reach everyone. But those are still being planned right now. So keep an eye out for more news on that. Our trainings are varied right now. We have, of course, webinars that we are hosting now through December, and then we will go full force into the Virtual Training Institute, which is February 22nd to 26th. And also on our website is Relias, who do great partnerships with APPA throughout my entire time working here, going back quite a bit. And they have online trainings both at the agency level and for individuals specifically. So if you are a member, you can receive discounts on those as well. I mentioned a little bit about Perspectives earlier, as well as the Career Center. Membership also features CC Headlines, which is a bi-weekly newsletter made by me and our web design team, where we aggregate headlines from across the country that are important to the community corrections field, as well as the latest APPA news. So it just keeps you up to date on what is happening in the community. And there are a lot of ways to get involved with APPA. I know, obviously, COVID-19 has put everybody's budget in a bind. Typically, individual membership is $50. However, if you're on this webinar, we have a special code you can enter where for the next year, membership will be just $25 if you are to sign up in the next week. Following, I think, Nan, did you drop it into, I'll actually add it to the handout section after my section is complete. But we have instructions that make it easy to join and will save you money. And if you're a student, then that's the typical price anyway, just $25. And if you would like to cover numerous people as part of your agency, it's just $300 to join APPA and cover all of your members as long as you have 100 people or less. And last but not least, I wanted to share a helpful graph that Nan put together for me that shows some of the benefits of APPA membership. So you have you vote in elections, early access to our Perspectives magazine, CC headlines, and access to the APPA Connect general communities. Those are available for everybody, regardless of individual or agency membership. And then for individuals, you get access to premium webinar recordings, discounts on institute registration, 15% off for Elias, early access to jobs postings in the Career Center, and you can serve on our committees to help shape what APPA will do in the future, which is something we are trying to push just to get more people involved and active. Agency level membership, you can work with me. I use my journalism background a little to potentially write about your organization. I'd love to learn more about what you're doing at your regional level, locally. Or also there's discounts on job postings and the Reliance platform as well. And I think with that, that was just a quick spiel. I'm not going to bore anybody, but if you'd like to learn more, please reach out to me or Nan. We want to serve the Indigenous populations any way we can and try and build a stronger back and forth conversation to evolve our measures to meet your needs. So thank you for this time to talk to you. And I think Nan mentioned this before, but the average attention span is 10 minutes. So I'm not sure if I kept that to 10 minutes, but if I lost anybody along the way, that's okay. Totally understandable. But Nan, I'll pass it back to you. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Aaron, for all those that interesting information. One of the things that I want to also leave you with is that for our membership, we gave you a lot of information, and I know it's going to be really hard to kind of digest all of this information, but make sure that you reach out to us to talk about it, think about it some more. For $25, you get a lot, and I know that it's a lot of money for those of us that have been out of work for a while, or that have, are kind of in a space where we don't know how long we're going to be in the situation that we are in now. And we know that for a lot of tribes that travel has been banned, budgets are on hold. There's lots of things going on like that. And so one of the things that when I was asking for APPA to provide a membership drive for us is saying, let us have this membership drive, because one of the ways that we're very good at is saying, if you give us a break, then we can use whatever is free for right now until our budgets can come back up, where we can maybe go to some of the training institutes that are maybe a little bit more expensive, or get in on some of the other things that are going to cost us a little more. So most of what we provided in terms of, opportunities or resources are pretty much free. Getting on Appa Connect, using career centers, using the webinars, having, some of the trainings that we have available are mostly free. Having access to publications, having access to being asked to be a presenter for things, those are free. And so in the meantime, you still have the first row seat to be able to know what's going on. What are some of the next trainings we're having? What are some of the next workshops we're planning? What are some of the next institutes that we're planning? Because one of the things that we're doing for the tribal people is that at every training institute that we have for Appa, my goal has been to make us more visible on that arena. So I have made it my mission to make sure that we have workshops that are focused on tribal issues. And I've been very fortunate that I've been able to get at least 2, 3, or 4 workshops that are tribally focused workshops at these national conventions or conferences. And so the one coming up in Seattle in February, I think we have four workshops and panel discussions that are going to be tribally focused. And so that's a lot. And we also are partnering with APPA, that they've given us permission to also sponsor a silent auction for the Seattle Indian Health Board to give back as a way to say thank you for being our host city to raise money for them, since they are an Indigenous nonprofit organization, so that we can give back to the community that sponsors or that gives back to Indigenous community people within that area. And so we do a lot in those ways. And so those are places that we need help on. I need help on. And also right now, the Tribal Issues Committee, we don't have a chairperson. That is in dire need of somebody to take a leadership role. And we know that somebody out there is capable of doing that. And if we don't find somebody that's able to do that, we may end up losing that committee. And I don't want that to happen. We've worked too long and too hard to get us to this point of being able to have a voice in APPA as a committee and as a group, that I don't want us to lose that. And so it's very important that we have a membership and we have a voice, and that's why it's really important for us to continue this membership and to continue this piece. So with that, let's go ahead and see if you have any other questions that you may have. And if you want to go ahead and just put it in the chat, or raise your hand, or any way that you want to ask us, then we can respond back to you.
Actually, yeah, you're welcome to ask a question in chat, and also I've made it possible for attendees to turn on their microphones. If you'd like to turn yours on, you're more than welcome to talk to us directly.
Yay! So don't all talk at once.
But Nan, that's a great point you made about the Tribal Issues Committee. I know our last chair, he had issues that were outside of his control. He wasn't able to continue to serve in that position, but I'd love to work with a new Tribal Issues Committee chair. If you know someone who might be willing to take up this cause, it would be pretty simple. It'd just be the organization of a few meetings a year. It would involve pulling people from all across the country. APPA would, of course, help in that communication. We just would love to build those relationships and have more representatives from the Indigenous persons community that we can collaborate with. But if no one has any questions, I guess this is last call. I appreciate everyone who has taken the time to join us, and we are going to follow up on email. But is there anything we should close out with, Nan? Anything else you'd like to add?
Anything that you guys have? I know that I see, Clarina, you don't have any questions? I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm going to just call out people here that I know. People that I know have left, right?
They're like, oh.
Okay, I'm leaving. Emily, how about you? Emily Daisy? Do you have any questions?
Alonzo, thank you. You're welcome. If you need anything else, just give us a message.
And thank you, Ricardo. I did get your message, so thank you. Okay, I guess not. So if you need anything, we'll go on to the last slide,
Mhm.
that's our contact information. So you can take a picture of that, and then we will be able to. You can get hold of us
Yeah.
and let us know. And then Aaron got the thing up on the handout, so download that as to how to get your discount. And if you forget how to do that, then make sure that you call us and let us know. And if you forget our names, just call APPA, and then they'll direct you to us, because everybody knows about this membership drive.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Larry, Amber, Cindy, I know you all are still with us. Thank you so much for telling your stories and for sharing a little bit about the work you do, or how you came to be involved in this side of probation and parole.
Yeah, and Amber and Cindy are always there to help you guys out too, because they've been members, and they know how to get around and do all the things that we're doing as well. So if you ever have any questions about what really is APPA, feel free to contact them as well.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you guys for having us. Happy to be on board.
thank you so much, Larry. I just saw before Cindy gives her closing prayer. Brindalyn, I see you wrote. Did you have a question? We can answer it real quick if you'd like. Oh, it looks like she may have left. Oh well. All right. Cindy, would you like to go ahead with the closing prayer to lead us out?
Absolutely.
Brindalyn, I'll message you after this, and we can follow up.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much. You know, it's an honor to sit in these sacred talks about change and about progress and about invigoration and revigoration and you know, where we're going in the journey. And so I just wanted to say thank you. You know, we appreciate the time that people have taken to do this with us. And so I'm just going to close out with a song and then a small prayer. This is a going home song. It is one of the last songs we sing in the Sweat Lodge. Away, ayo, hey najipe, love, don't say to hey nazi to elo hey away tayo hey nazi pero hey don't say to hey nazi to elo hey. Compassionate Grandfather, Great Spirit, thank you for having us, for encouraging us, for inspiring us, for connecting us, for allowing us understanding and compassion for each other and the journeys that we all have. Thank you for giving us the time and the space to be the people that you want us to be. Thank you for allowing this wonderful organization to be the forefront of our voice and our presence. We need more membership. We pray that others will spread the word. We pray that it takes more than one of us and that you bring it all together for us, and that every presentation that we have, that we gain more visibility. There's 4 coming in Seattle, and that was more than what we had before. And thank you for allowing us to talk with each other, to share our words and our journey, and we thank you for these things. Aho.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nan, for all the work you did on this, and everyone have a good rest of your day.
Care.
Thank you so much.